Like all major cities in Canada, Calgary is bracing for an influx of Syrian refugees. The new Liberal government plans to make good on its election promise to bring 25,000 refugees into Canada by the end of the year. If successful, it will be the largest resettlement of refugees in our country's history. Fairborz Birjandian is here to tell us what this could mean for Calgary. He's the CEO of Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, and he's on the line now. Good morning, Fairborz.
Good morning, Jennifer.
How many of these 25,000 refugees could be destined for Calgary?
I think the numbers for the government-sponsored refugee, when the government of Canada is sponsored, there's a term used, government-sponsored refugee, that 25,000 actually refers to them. Based on the current distribution of the government-sponsored refugee, we would be expecting about 1,100 for Calgary. But in addition to that, we are also expecting another 1,000 privately sponsored. So if you're looking at the total number of government-sponsored refugees, which includes the 25,000 that the Liberal government has promised, and the 1,000 that community organizations are sponsoring, so I would say between 2,100 to 2,300 is a good guesstimate of arrival.
And that's before the end of this year?
I think that is what they have said. But again, the last interview with the minister, he said he wants to do it right as well. So we are hoping that it takes a little bit longer for them to bring the people. Because 25,000 people, as you said, is a large number. I think there are two phases to this whole process. One is actually doing the work that the government needs to do, that is identifying these refugees, interviewing them, medical testing, and also this security and flying them in Canada. That's one phase of that. The next phase is the work that we do in the community, obviously, the settlement in the community. So I'm not sure how they're going to do the first phase. Are they going to do it in Canada or going to do it outside Canada? So this is the question that has not been answered yet.
I think there's a lot of unanswered questions here. If we see 21 to 2,300 refugees just in the next couple of months, how does that compare to the number of refugees that we would typically see integrated into Calgary in a single year?
In the single year, I think because Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, actually, we are responsible for resettlement of the government system of refugee, and also we do a lot of sponsorship ourselves. I would say between 900 to 1,100 are typically annual numbers that refugees come to Calgary. So we are doing basically more than the number for more than 2 years in 2 months, or actually not even 2 months, just 6 weeks actually. Yeah.
So what are the challenges of that?
What we have done, actually, because we have some experience, obviously we are a very great community when it comes to resettlement of refugees. And we have the Kosovo, if you remember Kosovo 16 years ago when the federal government actually airlifted 5,000 people, and they just brought them in Canada and processed them in Canada in the bases in eastern Canada. Calgary did quite well. Calgary did amazing well. And the good news is that provincial government actually has provided some direction to 5 centers in Alberta. That would be Edmonton, Red Deer, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, and Calgary about a month and a half ago. And we have started actually preparing the community. So in the case of Calgary, we already had a very major meeting on October 29, and now we already have a very settled task force and the subcommittees to actually address the issues. And we are going to have a meeting on November 19 at the Central Library in Calgary from 9 to 12, basically to introduce this structure to the community and introduce the people and organization involved with that. So we have done our work. Yeah. But there remains major challenges that we have always said that housing would be our major challenges.
Where will they stay? I guess that is the big question. Where would all of these people go when they land here?
Again, if the assumption is they all come in the next 6 weeks, I think what we have planned already is that, as you know, we have a Margaret Chisholm Reception House, which is owned by and operated by Calgary Catholic Immigration Society, but our capacity is limited there. We have about 60 people capacity that they can stay there, and we already have actually 60 people, hoping we move them by the time that these people arrive. So we have to go to the commercial, basically, accommodation, or just put people in the people's home, which would be quite difficult. We haven't done that in the past, so that would be a huge challenge for us. But at this point, we are looking at some commercial accommodation. We are talking to the city. City is quite involved with this conversation. So they're looking at their capacity. We have talked to some major landlords, and they are looking at see how they can help us. These are all based on assumption that these people come in next 6 weeks.
Fairborz, are you optimistic that it can be done?
I think it can. Again, I'm not only optimistic. I think we have done it in a smaller scale, and it has worked. I think there are major challenges, such as housing allowance. And we said to the federal government already through the national committee, because currently they are paying the rate of rent, which is quite low. It is equal to what the social services pay, which is a challenge for us, even for our regular refugees coming. But if they provide enough market rate rent, I think we can do it. Calgary are ready. We can actually rent apartments. People can actually go from the airport to their apartment. So there are things we can do if the resources are available. Housing is the major issue at this point we are facing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this. Okay.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Fairborz Birjandian is the CEO of the Calgary Catholic Immigration Society and chair of the Alberta Association of Immigrant Serving Agencies.